Okay, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for being here. This is future Jacoby talking. We'll be posting this. I'm recording this now after everything's done, but I'll be adding it at the very beginning of the video. Um, if you want to follow me on Moxfield, check me out. Got a blue sky. I don't really use it that much, but that's the only thing that's linked on here. But check me out on Moxfield if you want to see any of these decks. If you want to check out any of my decks at all, give it a like, give it a follow, whatever. We got some cool stuff in here. A lot of strong decks, and some decent decks as well. We're talking about Foxglove. Just a brief preview. I played him a lot after making this process. I played him against myself, which I'll show one game, kind of fast forwarded and using some DMCA free music. Um, but just to show like what it looks like when I play by myself, in case anyone wants to see that. Um, that's in there, and then of course the whole build process and ideas are in there. But the deck has largely been unchanged since the end of the video, or I guess the end of the build process. I'll probably change things later on as I get tired of certain things or realize that just certain cards are just not good for the deck. Certain dead cards. But as of right now, as it stands, Foxglove is pretty fun. Also for this video, I'm using the software I'm using has an AI like caption maker, so if subtitles are off, sorry. I can't really change it after the fact. I saved over the draft, so what's there is there, unfortunately. Um, my bad. But anyway, if you guys are interested in testing out this deck, you go to my Mox and you want to see like decks that maybe prove to be a decent challenge for Foxglove, but is still winnable for him. Um, my Atraxa rework deck is very strong. I have been messing with it. I think it's a 4 because of the Thassa's Oracle combo I have in here. But if you take it out, it's a 3. It's a very high 3. It's very strong. A Spellsing deck with Storm, obviously, I intend for it to play at maybe a 4 level, but I don't know if it really is there yet. Because again, there's not really the 2-card combos that make it a 4 aren't necessarily always there. But there are pretty strong combos. There are some pretty strong extra turn cards that can chain together. This is a strong deck too. Then my historic deck, my grandpa's deck with Karn, Legacy of Forge is in here. Also a very strong deck. This deck just gets out of control. Once it starts getting mana and gets Karn out there, the longer Karn is out, the stronger it gets. If you don't have artifact board wipe, then it's not gonna, it's gonna be very hard to stop. So Foxglove can contend with all of them. I've played quite a few games, and I actually have a lot of fun playing these 4 decks together. I think it'd be cool to see these 4 decks at a table with actual people and not just myself. But Foxglove is really fun. That's the point, is what I'm trying to say. He's pretty strong. I'm trying to think if there's any last minute notes I need to add in here before I put everything together. This is my first build video and kind of just messing around with YouTube, like recording overall, I guess. Um, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, I suppose. Um, don't know if this will be a thing I do all the time. I don't have the time to do this consistently. But if there's a commander, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me try to design that or make that. If I see a commander, I just can't, like an older commander, I just don't find too many videos on them. I'll look into it, and if there's something interesting, I'll put it out. That's about it. So enjoy the video, and see ya. Okay, what's going on, everybody? I wanted to try to make a Mr. Foxglove deck to just showcase, I guess for myself and for some friends, how I deck build. Um, I'm doing this one, I'm approaching this a little bit differently, but we'll be building Foxglove on Moxfield here. Blanked on the name. I took some notes. So I want to have, you can see I already have a little bit of a sideboard going here. We'll talk about in a second. I obviously want Mr. Foxglove as the commander. So it's going to be one of the 100, so 99 cards left. And I took some notes trying to see, kind of breaking down how many cards do I want in each section. So for this exercise, I'm thinking 40 lands. And right now, these lands are arbitrary. I just put one of each color until it's even, and then 14 just to break it to hit the 40 mark. We'll adjust this later. But I want to go in with the mindset of 40 lands. And then, because the reason I'm doing this is because the cutting portion of decks is always the hardest for me. So I'm thinking if I go into it with a set amount of cards I want in each section, it'd be a little bit easier to at least fine tune it later on. Because cutting it's tough. Unless I'm cutting for budget or cutting because I just don't like the card. It's tough to cut stuff. It's tough to cut until you maybe goldfish or play a wild notice with its dead cards what's not helping you. So we'll see how it goes. Foxglove is a weird commander. He has just kind of read what he does here. He has lifelink. That's right. Whenever Mr. Foxglove attacks, draw cards equal to the number of cards in the defending player's hand, minus the number of cards in your hand. If you draw cards this way, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So if I have 2 cards in hand and I attack an opponent who has 7 cards in hand, I would draw 5 cards. If it's the other way around, where I have 7 cards in hand and they only have 2 cards in hand, rather than drawing any cards, I would play a card from my hand onto the field for free. A creature. Sorry, not any card. A creature will go from my hand onto the battlefield. So we're going to be cheating some stuff out. And so the idea is going to be we want big creatures. We want to kind of go crazy with that. So looking at my stats here, one more time. Commander makes 1 card. Lands brings us to 40 out of the 99. I want about 20 creatures or more, just total. Most of those I want those to be big creatures. Why am I running so many lands? One, I think having a lot of lands is good. I tend to run 37 lands in a lot of my decks as a minimum now. I think in this case, though, one of the reasons why I want 40 lands is I want to be able to play a lot of lands. We're also going to be running a lot of ramp, but I want to get those lands out in case Foxglove can't come out, or if I want to just play cards anyway. If I have expensive creatures in my hand, I want to be able to get them out. I don't want to have to rely on Foxglove to get all my creatures out, because that is not going to feel good when he starts getting removed on site. So 40 lands, at least 20 creatures, brings us to 60 cards total so far. And then I'm looking 8 to 12 pieces of ramp. We're going to say 12 to be on the high end for now. So again, we want to be able to ramp hard. We want to get Foxglove out as soon as possible. The sooner he comes out, the sooner you can start swinging, the less likely opponents will have answers to him. So the sooner the better. He's a 5-cost commander, so that ramp is going to be huge. Also, the ramp is going to be big because, again, we want to play our big creatures just by paying the costs. If that's something we have to do, we want to have the lands to do so. We're running a lot of lands, so we're probably going to... We run the risk of mana flooding when we draw. Having that ramp is going to help us bump up our land count and also thin our deck a bit. If I run 12 pieces of ramp and play all 12 pieces, that cuts at least 12 lands from my deck. That brings my deck size down and allows me to draw more of what I need. I'm thinking right now, because I was looking at some other decks, I'm thinking about 4 pieces of protection for Foxglove himself. So we'll get a little Voltron-y probably. Maybe some counter spells will help out too, or some blink stuff. Just ways to help him not die or not get removed. I have my notes here also 3 support creatures. So this is kind of an interesting one. It's something I haven't really thought of too often. But this came with my Storm deck. I have a Storm Force of Nature deck. And there's a couple cards in there that can replace Storm. I would never replace Storm as the commander for that deck specifically, but if Storm gets removed or is not out in the field yet, there's other creatures that can be on the field to help out. Looking at my Emodane deck, for example, I don't really have that in Emodane. I have some Ultra commanders in the deck that are pretty great, but there's not really a whole lot of creatures in that deck. That's one of the things the deck struggles with. So I want to have some other creatures that can help out. And I have some in mind, a couple of them in the sideboard already that I saw in another, completely not Foxglove, just a completely different deck. We're actually going to grab that commander as well and add them in a little bit here. 3 trigger supports. So these are coming again from the idea of other Foxglove decks I saw, as well as my Bright Palm deck that I run. So there is a artifact in my Bright Palm deck I run where if I pay 2 and tap the artifact, I basically double a activated ability. So that'll double on Foxglove. Well, certainly we want to trigger Foxglove multiple times. So if you've as I understand it, if I have a way of copying Foxglove's activated ability here, let's say I have 2 cards in hand, the opponent I'm attacking has 7 cards in hand. I declare attacks with Foxglove, and then I copy that triggered ability. I can draw to 7, and then also cheat in a card into play. I wouldn't be able to draw a second time because I'm already matching them. Or I could just cheat 2 cards out, which is probably what we want in this deck more often than anything else. So we'll look at 3 trigger supports. One of those trigger supports is really just, or 2 of those actually that I was looking at are just extra combat, which not everyone enjoys, but in Bant I think that's kind of interesting. Green, white, blue. Usually you see extra combat in red, I feel like, so kind of interesting to have it in this deck, in this color scheme. Hand supports. We want to have card advantage. We want to have a higher hand than our opponents. So I'm thinking hand support, no maximum hand size, maybe 3 to 4. Um, and then let's go and count what we have now. So we have 40 lands, 20 creatures, which comes up to 60. 12 pieces of ramp for now, 72 cards. 4 protection, probably a little more, maybe we'll see. 76 cards. 3 support creatures. That brings us to. Now the math's not going to add up entirely because again we're counting towards creatures, but we'll say 79 for now. 3 trigger supports brings us to 82 cards so far. Not counting commander, we need 99. So we're leaving room for 17 more cards. What categories are we missing right now? I haven't chosen how many cards of removal I want, how much draw I want, how much evasion I want. So evasion, that's kind of run to the protection, but a little bit separate. Some decks separate it. So in my mind, protection is stuff like if they're going to destroy a target creature, I give Mr. Foxglove indestructible, right? Or maybe I give him Swiftfoot Boots so that he has hexproof, or Lightning Greaves to give him Shroud. That's protection in my eyes. Evasion is going to be stuff that gives him menace, or flying, or a combat trick, where maybe I swing, but then I remove him from combat. He's still attacked. He's just not going to do any combat damage. That's kind of evasion in my mind. Kind of ways to get him to trigger without losing him. Counter spells for playing blue. We want to have some counter spells for sure. Don't know how much yet. And then recursion. I don't know if I really need recursion in this deck yet, but it's going to have. So we are playing green and white. There is going to be recursion available. And yeah, so we'll see where we go. We'll obviously cut stuff down and add stuff in later as we go. This will be kind of a longer process. I'm doing it in between other things right now. So let's go and get started though, and then we can pick it back up if we need to in a while here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with the ramp pieces, really. Just start throwing them in. So, like I said, I have my sideboard here. I kind of just grabbed ramp from another deck, copied what they have, threw it in here. Not everything in here is ramp. I started throwing some stuff into the deck also, and then decided, no, I'm just going to wait and try to do it live. Let's get the ramp out there first. Cultivate. Good ramp card. Antish Restoration. One of those cards that, again, I kind of just took from someone else. We're going to just put it in the deck for right now. But Cultivate, I don't really want to explain what the cards do. These both ramp. Antish Restoration, I've actually never seen it too much before. But you just sacrifice a land, search library for 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield, tap, shuffle. If you control power 4 or greater, instead search the library for up to 3 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. This will be great mid to later game when we have our 4 power creatures, our big creatures are slamming down. We'll be able to just ramp harder. I'm not a fan of sacrificing lands, so we'll see. If, this could be one of those things that maybe we cut. This is some ramp. This is really good ramp. Faber Elder, one of the best cards in our Bumbleflower deck. Even came in the pre-con. I will end up buying a second copy of this because I don't want to take it out of Bumbleflower. So I'll get a second one of these, but I'll throw it into Foxglove. Also, I'm trying. I'm not going to guarantee this, but I'm hoping all cards are under $5 unless I already own the card. Then, of course, either it won't count towards the price. If it's really expensive, I might just proxy it. Swirling Tithe, for example, I own Swirling Tithe. Is it going to go in this deck? I don't know yet. It's always a hit or miss if I want to throw it in there. But, I own Swirling Tithe, so that might go in there. It might not count towards the $5 maximum. But I want to try to keep each card under $5. The deck I was really leaning into and kind of looking at was 200 total. I have some of the cards, so it won't be 200. And honestly, I don't want to spend 200 on a deck anyway. I would like to keep it 150 or below. Anyway, back to our cards here. Farseek, another good ramp card. I just kind of know this one from my Atraxa deck. It's just good for green. You get a plains, island, swamp, or mountains. In this case, plains or island. So a good way if we're going to be running more green lands, which we probably will end up doing, then this is a good way to get those other lands out to make sure we have some diversity. Harrow, you have to sacrifice a land again, but you get 2 basic land cards. Again, I know where I'm not too sure if I really want to sacrifice lands when there's probably just other ways to get ramp, but here it is. We'll keep moving. Helga, the Skittish Seer, and this is going to give mana, X mana of any one color, where X is Helga's power. Spend this mana to cast creature spells with mana value 4 or greater. So, bit of a, how do I say? Bit of a limiting ramp spell, but it's still pretty good, and it is a creature. We're gonna put up there. He gets the 1/1 counters whenever I cast a creature spell with mana value 4 or greater. If I draw a card, if I gain 1 life. Or, I'm sorry. Whenever I cast a spell, a creature with mana value 4 or greater, I get to draw a card, gain 1 life, and put a 1/1 counter on him. I'm also gonna kind of look out for this, make sure that I am getting 1/1 counters on here, because I don't know if necessarily this is casting cards. I'm just putting it on the battlefield. Gotta look into that. Still learning. Kodama's Reach, good card. We'll go just move that straight there. You get 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put 1 on the battlefield, other in your hand. Nature's Lore, another good card. You get a forest card. Cost 2, you get 1. Not too bad. Rampant Growth, my beloved. You get a basic land card, anyone, put in the battlefield, tapped. I have a bunch of. I think almost every green deck I run has this card in it. Soccer Tribe Elder. I didn't realize this was so cheap. I thought it was more expensive for some reason, but it's only $1.50. Not bad. You sacrifice it, go grab a basic land card, put in the battlefield tapped. It's another Rampant Growth. It just takes a while to get there. Not a while, just you gotta sacrifice it. Soul Ring. Everyone loves a good Soul Ring. We're gonna count Mana Rocks as our ramp here. And then Spring Bloom Druid enters the battlefield. You may sacrifice a land. If you do, search the library for up to 2 basic land cards. So again, we're trying to train out lands here. It's decent, I guess. If we're running Blink, this one would be really good. I don't know how much Blink we're going to have in here currently. That would be blinking this guy. It's also good to have these sort of creatures out as walls, essentially. Because again, if we're relying on Foxglove for everything, we're not going to have too many creatures out until he gets out, and that's not going to be good if they have Death Touch or if they have bigger than 5 power toughness. 5 power creatures that beat our toughness. That's not going to be good either. We don't want to lose Foxglove since he's our commander. He's already expensive as it is. So now what I want to do, and I'll probably do this again later, but just to show, I like to tag all my stuff on Moxfield. I think Architect does it automatically, but I like to tag it myself. So we're going to do change tags, and we're going to go ahead and add hashtag ramp. Oop, if I can type. Ramp. Because remember, these are all our ramp cards, and we can just go through and just add last tag. Sometimes Moxfield, at least mine does, I'll click add last tag ramp with Spring Bloom Druid highlighted here, and it'll for some reason click one of these ones instead. In this case, it doesn't matter because they already all have the tag on, so if I miss one, I'll see it right away. But we want to just be careful with that. If we ever click quick remove later on, we might remove a card on accident that we didn't want to get rid of. Then we'll click type in tags, and we should be able to see. So we have 9 pieces of ramp right now. We said we wanted 12. Oh, here we go. I missed some. Soul Ring, Entish, and Hero. That brings us to 12 pieces of ramp. I would like more mana rocks, honestly. Mana rocks replacing lands, not great, but playing them on curve, awesome. We did mention we wanted hand support, so Thought Vessel comes to mind. No maximum hand size, you get that. Endless Decanter, I think it's called. I ran this in my Storm deck. Decanter of Endless Water, close enough. No maximum hand size, any color. Tap, so kind of like Thought Vessel, but you get any color instead of colorless. Arcane Signet is really good to have. And then we could go for like the Simic Signets, the filter rocks. I'm gonna wait on those though, but we could go for those. So as we can see here, we're already ahead or above on what we want for ramp if we're counting these as ramp as well, which we will. So let's go put these in here. Let's also go ahead and add in, since we're already doing it, our hand support. So we're going to add a tag, comma, hashtag. We're going to call it hand support. I'm sure there's a better term for it, more official term. But we'll give that to Thought Vessel, and we will give that to Decanter. Once you type a tag, just come down here to the drop-down menu and click it, and it comes up. So now if we go into our H's up here, this is sorted alphabetically, of course. Commander is always up front, though. We have 2 hand support cards already, so which is cool to see. Back to our ramp now, though. We need to cut down. We have too many, more than what I want. Ramp is great, but we don't want that much. I wasn't a fan of the sacrifice lands. I wasn't too much of a fan of Helga either. You get a lot out of it though, so I might keep Helga there. I'm thinking Spring Bloom can go to the sideboard for now. We want to keep these cards in the sideboard. Not actually. Well, let's put them in considering. And the reason for that is because considering will show the tags when we get there. As you can see, I have a ton of considering cards. I've been looking a lot into different things, just grabbing what I saw that matches the colors and going from there. Um, but if we expand considering, we'll go look at it. We can see hand support's in here already. This tag means that it's already in the deck, so we'll want to remove that later. We'll clean this up later though. But you can see it's already sorted out for me, which is awesome. And you can see other ones in here too. Anyway, we're going to collapse that. We don't need to worry about that right now. Where were we? Oh, we need to cut 2 more of these ramp cards that make us lose lands. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Harrow for now. And let's get rid of 1 more. Helga's cheaper than Entish. Price is always a big one. But you get 3 lands out of this. So this one is nice because you actually get 3 lands out of it. Whereas the other one, you lose a land, but you get 3. So it's a net 2. Whereas the other sacrifices are only net 1. I kind of like that. I'm fine with sacrificing land if I'm getting 2 more out of it. Whereas instead of getting just only 1 more. Let's go put Helga to the sideboard for now and just keep it in mind. I'll have to look up the rule and see, does Foxglove count as casting? Because if that's the case, then Helga's going to ramp pretty hard. But that won't really happen until we have 5 mana anyway, because we got to have Foxglove out. So we'll see how that goes. Next, I want to do my support creatures. I'm going to skip protection for now. We're going to do support creatures. I got 2 in the sideboard already. I like Elvish Piper. And I like Kodama the East Tree. Elvish Piper here it costs 4 to play. Not huge since we're not a huge deal since we're playing green and we're gonna be ramping. But green and 3, you may put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield if you pay 1 green and tap this the Piper. Really good card, really funny card. So we're gonna want to play that because it's kind of similar to Mr. Foxglove. We can just pay 3, tap this, assuming it survives long enough for you to be able to do so. You can start cheating stuff out. Even sooner than Foxglove would come out even, or even on curve if if you have maybe have 5 mana and you play her, and then next turn you have 6 mana, you can play Foxglove and cheat something out, and then now have 2 things on the field before you even have to swing. So that's pretty nice. She'll probably get removed. That's okay. That's why we're thinking recursion maybe, or maybe just some protection. I don't know, but she is a very great card. Next is Kodama the East Tree. This was interesting. You have to play from your hand to trigger it. It's also very expensive to play. It's 6 mana, so more than our commander. However, it does have reach, which is nice already. It's a 6/6, so it's huge. And then, anyway, whenever a permanent you control enters, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser mana value from your hand onto the battlefield. So they kind of just call them together. If I swing with Foxglove, then this will trigger Kodama, because I'll put a card on the field. I can put a second card on the field. Very good. If I don't have Foxglove on the field yet, I can just cast something from my hand. Cast a permanent, and then Kodama will trigger anyway, and I'll be able to play something from my hand. If I have recursion and return from the graveyard to the battlefield, that'll trigger. All my ramp stuff will trigger Kodama too. So Kodama's really good. We're not running too many of these like extra supported creatures, but they are still there. So we might not pull them. Pulling all 3 that we're going to go for, it's not the best, or not the most likely, I should say, but still good to see. The other one I'm thinking of doing, and it's kind of just off the top of my head, was going to be Cyrodiil. I kind of like him. So he's actually a commander, a different commander deck I had ran a while back. Pretty cool. He's got vigilance. Whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, each player secretly votes for a player, then those votes are revealed. Each player draws cards for each vote they received. Each player who received no votes may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. What's nice about this is I think there's a mind game here. One, the vote is secret, so if you're going to be running this card, I recommend having some form of vote tracking. The best one that I thought of, because it's Magic, lands or tokens or something, assign a land to somebody. So maybe I'm a mountain, player 2 is a forest, player 3 is an island, player 4 is a swamp. That's what our assigns are. Everyone gets 4 copies of each land, and they can vote secretly. And then the person who cast Cyrodiil, me, will shuffle and just decide. Some social deduction game type of mechanic there. But you can get people to either give you card advantage, and then if you have Foxglove out, you swing, you get it. You have the card advantage, you're going to win anyway. You'll put something out, or if you don't get any votes, then maybe you can cheat something out anyway. Then you swing at someone who has the highest hand total and draw cards anyway. So kind of nice if you have Foxglove out. If you don't have Foxglove out, that's okay, because again, he's still doing and triggering his things with both entering and attacking. So these are going to be our 3 support creatures. We'll go and add hashtag support, just call them creatures. And then we'll do that for Elvish Piper, and we'll do that for Kodama. It's only 3 in there, but not too big of a deal. If we think of more, we might want to put more in there. But again, we're going to have a bunch of other creatures too coming in, so we don't want to we don't put too many in here that we don't get to play all our other big stuff. So now we're looking at 56 cards and the deck so far. 3 trigger supports or 4 protection. Let's go and do our protection. And this one again, I was looking at another deck. We could look at the considering stuff here. Scroll down. Actually, I don't have it tagged, but here is Trionic Resonator. We'll move this to the sideboard for now. And the other 2, I think, were enchantments for our trigger supports. No, one's a creature. Let me see if I can remember what it is without looking. It's something the Ageless. Here it is right here. Middomine the Ageless. So, Ageless. Flying whenever the Ageless deals combat damage to a player, take an extra turn. To this one, he can't attack during extra turn. So he only gets to attack once, but we get another turn afterwards. So we get whole extra turns, so we're able to untap our Foxglove, which means Foxglove will be technically triggering 2 times. And then lastly, the other one I believe is an enchantment. Yes, finest hour. You can exalt it whenever a creature, or it's exalted. Sorry, whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap that creature. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. So we have Mr. Foxglove on the field. We see with him alone, he becomes a 4/6. Because he attacked alone, and it's the first combat, we will untap him and then enter an additional combat phase right after. He gets to attack again. That gives us 2 turns of, or 2 triggers. So those are 3 extra triggers. We'll go ahead and let's go ahead and put in the tags now. And we call them, we'll just say triggers. Save. Move to the main deck. Do it again. Do it again. Okay, so now we have 59 cards in the deck. We're looking at about $47 so far. And aside from I have Strionic Resonator. I might just buy another one though. I don't really want to move it or proxy it. But otherwise though, I think we're sticking to our $5 minute maximum so far. Hopefully we keep that. And again, we won't really look at it till later. So things are getting pretty close though. So we might want to cut down on some of the prices anyway if we're worried about price at the end of this. Our lands too will, right now, I'm not counting the price of the lands. They're just basics. But command tower, I don't think I have an extra command tower, so I'll have to order one of those. I would have to order, I'm thinking reliquary tower will definitely go in the deck. Just no maximum hand size, colorless land. I'll have to order one of those probably. I don't think I have any more of those. And then if I want to do any like the tri lands or dual lands, anything like that, then I'd definitely have to order some. I don't have any. I don't think. Unless I cut from Bubble Flower and put them in here for now and then move from there. But that's the deck building process for paper. We're just looking in terms of just having the deck made for tabletop and then planning it out in the future to order stuff. So let's see here. So we got our protection. No, we don't have our protection. We need to get our protection out. 4 pieces ish, maybe more. The deck I was looking at did run more. I think they ran 6. But I don't know if I'm a fan of all of them. So we'll just take a look and see. However, we're going to take a pause and come back to this. Okay, we're back. We are back, and I started adding cards and didn't click resume. So we already got a bunch of cards in here. I just copied them from the other deck. But we have 7 cards in the sideboard. They really can't protection right now. I want to remove some stuff just right away. I'm not a fan of this guy right now, so I'm just gonna move him over. Maybe he's good, maybe he's not. I don't really know. And then again, we said 4 pieces of protection. We currently have 5 in here. Remember, Helga is just kind of sitting here right now. We'll see what we do with that later if we ever put it in. We got 5 things to add in here. I think Swiftfoot Boot's pretty good. You could run Lightning Greaves, but Lightning Greaves is over $5. Lightning Greaves also gives Shroud to your creature, which means you can't target it yourself. Which, it's not a huge deal. I think Shroud's okay, but just gotta be careful of that. So I like Swiftfoot Boots more. You get Hexproof and Haste. Hexproof is nice. It's the same thing as Shroud to an extent. And then the Haste allows you to swing right away if you have this out beforehand. So Swiftfoot Boots is really nice protection. Shalai, Voice of Plenty. This gives you planeswalkers you control and other creatures you control hexproof. And if I pay 2 green and 4 colorless, I get a 1/1 counter on each creature I control. So that's pretty nice because not only does it give us hexproof on Foxglove, but it buffs him up. And again, we're winning through combat damage. So, we play big creatures, but also commander damage if we get him to actually get through people and hit. So that's really good. Selfless Spirit is a nice just sacrifice and give indestructible to end a turn. This card is really interesting. Pippin. He's got Vigilance and Ward 1, and then another target creature you control gains protection from the card type of your choice until end of turn if you tap him. And then Goldforged Thopterix has Flying and Lifelink. Each legendary permanent you control has Ward 2. That ward cost is pretty nice. Some people won't want to pay it, and so that'll keep you nice and safe, especially since this is a white and which is a white and blue. It's pretty cheap to play. Let's see. I like Swiftfoot Boots. I think it's just a staple, so we're gonna move that to the main deck. I like Shalai. I think that's pretty cool because I also get Hexproof, not just Foxglove. Let me just check real quick. I forgot to see how much it costs to pay him 4. So he'd probably get out before Foxglove at least, which is nice. And they'd have to counter it. They can't just remove it with like a target removal. Board could obviously remove it, but they have to counter Shalai. Because once it hits, and then it hits, and then you're kind of safe from lots of. So it's a pretty strong card, in my opinion. We need to get 2 more on there. Let's go ahead and do. I think his Selfless Spirit is pretty good, especially because you can just sacrifice it. It responds to things. So I'll move Selfless Spirit to the main deck, and then we gotta get 1 more in here. I might end up adding both of these. Honestly, they are pretty good. Having 5 piece of protection is not a big deal. But again, we want to just try to stick to what we had said, which was 4. So I'm gonna leave Pippin for now. Because that tap ability makes me feel a little more limited. And it is nice that other people have protection from that card type of your choice. So if they have an instant tap, hey, no more instant, no more enchantment, that sort of thing. It's kind of nice, but don't know if that's exactly what I want to handle with right now. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking right now. Let's go and just move Goldforge for now to the main deck. And again, this is a card that we like, just like Helga. We like it. We just don't know if we're going to use it entirely or not. So we'll keep it in the sideboard for now. With Moxfield, your unknown card is the price I'm looking at. If you don't own any of the cards, then obviously this is the whole deck cost. It's going to count your sideboard too. So if we move both these to the considering, this whole price will just go down by like $4. Not too much, but it'll go down. Because it's counting a sideboard too, as if you bought the sideboard cards. Okay, so there is our protection. 4 pieces of them. We should start tagging those. Those are going to be in, should be up here, untagged artifacts and creatures. So this is protection for us. Cards can have multiple tags. You guys saw that already. And so they'll show up multiple times. For example, Thought Vessels, both in ramp and hand support. So just keep that in mind. If we had to go through and cut, ramp cards, we don't want to cut Thought Vessel because that's going to cut our hand support down to 1 instead of 2. It's always good to check your tags before you cut a card. Anyway, so Swiftfoot Boots is in our protection section. This is also protection. This is also protection. And this is also protection. And I don't think any of those would fall into any double categories here that I can think of. It's good to check now since we're here and any other double categories in our ramp section, which I don't think there is. If we're playing landfall or countless manner, then maybe I'll go ahead and count some of these guys as like landfall because it triggers more lands. This gives more counters. If I'm playing a sack outlet for some reason, I might count Soccer Tribe Elder because we are sacrificing things. But nothing in here looks like it would count for double. Same goes for here. I guess we have extra combat, which we could look at. Your Brack Info's down here, so we're already in 2 because we have an extra turn card with Midomai, which is fine. I'll go ahead and mark that just so I know it's there. So this is extra turns. This is extra combat. Extra combat. I suppose you can trigger these guys again with Charionic Resonator, copy it, but that's probably not going to happen too often. There's only 3 cards in here anyway. But now we have our extra section up here. So good to just track that stuff just to see what you're looking at. Lastly, in our little setup here, we want to look at hand support from our notes. So we need 3 to 4 pieces of hand support. We already got 2 with Thought Vessel, Decanter and the Spotter. More that come to mind, Wizard Class comes to mind. Wizard Class comes to mind. There it is. Reliquary Tower comes to mind. While we're adding lands, Rogue's Passage is a favorite of mine. Good support for Mr. Foxglove. Good evasion too, which we were thinking about. So when we add lands, remember we want to keep our total land count to 40. So we're gonna want to cut some lands down. So because again this is gonna be arbitrary, we'll just cut down 1 forest, and we'll cut down arbitrary 1 island to keep us at 40. Because we want to make sure we keep our lands, at all total, not just basics. Now let's go and tag our extra hands, or hand support sizes. So change tags, recent tags, this is going to be hand support. No maximum hand size, draw 2 cards, which is nice because that will give us card advantage. And when you draw a card, put 1 counter on target creature. Reliquary Tower, hand support. And then Rogue's Passage is going to be, we will toll this evasion for now. Let's be grammatically correct. Okay, we gotta get going here pretty soon. One more thing I like to do is because of now we're tagging lands and putting them in other spots. These lands are going to start. Untagged lands are going to show 38, but we have 40. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to change tags, and I like to do untapped lands. I'll also tag my tap lands because I don't want to have a ton of lands that are coming in tapped and I just don't realize it. That's going to mess with our curve. So let's go over here now and make sure we tag you. You're an untapped land, and you're an untapped land. If we need to, we have triggers, the word triggers, so it'll show tapped and then untapped. If we had like a tap land come in, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but let's just say we made this a tap land. Right, tap lands. It's going to show up over here, actually. Actually, I thought it would show up here. Never mind, ignore me. Hopefully these are, what I'm trying to say is hopefully these are next to each other. So that way we can still easily add up our lands if we need to in the end here. Which again, we'll figure out later though, when we actually mess with the coloring. But these are just lands that are pretty good utility. So we got our Reliquary Tower in here, we got our Wizard Class, we got our Thought Vessel, we got our Decanter in this water. We'll get some creatures in here that probably gives hand support as well. But just for right now, because again, we have those, we want to get 20 creatures total. or minimum, I should say. We have 9 right now, so maybe we'll add 20 creatures, just big creatures that we want Foxglove to cheat out or that can support us. I don't know. We'll see. But this is a nice start. We have 64 cards in the main deck total. Um, we've already got 9 creatures in here, 5 sorceries, only 1 instant, so we might want to start targeting some instants. Good to have that. Maybe our removal, our evasion, and of course our counter spells will be instants. Gonna just have a nice spread in a deck like this, I feel like. 6 artifacts, pretty good. Probably don't want too many more, but we'll see how it goes again. And then 2 enchantments, and of course our 40 lands. So we're looking good so far. We'll probably get some more enchantments as well, just depending on what we're looking at. But again, we need to start looking at. We want to get just our big creatures in, and then I think what I would do next is get the creatures that I want in that are just cost a lot of mana or do something crazy when they get played. To kind of just play off Foxglove here. After that, I get those 20-ish creatures in, hopefully, we will tag them for everything that they do. So it won't just be big creature, but it'll also be maybe they enter the battlefield and exile a graveyard, right? We'll not mention that as removal or something. That's a bad example. Um, maybe it ramps us, right? We'll go in and target that. Yeah, this creature enters, it ramps us. That'll be our tag ramp. And then we go back to our ramp and then, cut stuff down. If we decide that maybe we don't need this card anymore because we have a lot of big creatures that ramp for us. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now, but we're going to take a break there. So, hope this was helpful, and I hope that I can edit this easily enough to where part 2 is just in one video as well. Okay, quick update on the build process here. I went ahead and grabbed a bunch of cards from my considering, as well as some other areas, and tagged a big boy into considering. So I'm thinking these might be the 20 creatures that we had talked about earlier that I want to add in to where my notes at? Oh yeah, about 20 creatures at least. Remember, we already have creatures in here with our, if I go up here, just no tags and just type. We already have 9 creatures, so 20 more is what I'm adding in, which brings us 29 creatures. Quite a bit, but again, we could always cut things later. Let's go back to type in tags again so we can see it all. There we go. I don't really think it matters about how we go through it because, like, I don't need to go through every single creature here. But some justification for some of these cards, I suppose. I own some of these, a good amount of these already. Little blue check mark means I own it, but so this card, this card, this card, this card, this card, this card are all from Bumbleflower, which I was recommended I cut. From that deck, just from other things. I want Bumbleflower to be a very group hug deck, not so much of the group slug that it does become. Some cards just they become super threats, and then all of a sudden, who cares about group hug? I need to be removed from the game. So I decided to mark some of these cards here. These creatures would be going in. I own Galta and Mavrin here, so they'll be going in. Pretty cool card. This card here, Sokoma and Nezahal, they break my $5 rule, so they might not end up in there. But for now, we're just gonna put them in anyway because they're pretty cool. What I should do is I should not add them. I should just put them in the sideboard, just to hold on to them and see where the price goes, and then go from there. So that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I just grabbed a bunch of creatures and just trying to see what sticks. My idea is when I looked at Big Boy, I call it Big Boys. I am looking at the mana value as well as the power toughness, and try to get creatures that hit both of those, or if not, hopefully at least creatures that can have pretty good abilities to help me out. And again, the idea here is to hopefully be playing them for free, cheating them out, and then not worrying about any of the mana cost, the high mana cost, right? So these guys here, this is an 8 cost creature. It's a 9/9, pretty good. When it enters, it destroys a bunch of stuff. Also, pretty good. Hopefully, I don't ever have to pay that cost, right? I don't want to pay 8 mana. I want to put it for free. So that's what we're hoping for there. So let's just gonna move all these to the main deck except for these two. We'll put these two in the sideboard. We put some other stuff in the sideboard too, kind of off screen while we're looking at things here. So actually, the easiest way to do this is going to be to copy section to clipboard, come to my bulk edit, and then we'll control V that and save it. And then we're going to come back over here to the big boy section and make sure that that $8 card and that $20 card are not in here, which I don't see them. But they should be in the sideboard. Yes, there they are. And if I go to considering, all these things are going to be marked as having a duplicate. Let's just remove them. And I'm going to click each one. Alt-2 would do this quicker, but I'm a little afraid that it might desync or whatever and then remove the wrong card. So just in case, I'm just going to remove one by one here. Again, we're not really going over why I picked these cards. They all do different things. What I'm going to do, though, is I will have to tag each one of these for what they actually do when they enter the battlefield or whatever their text is down here to see what category they fall into. Because maybe I can fill out my, for example, I have only, 4 pieces of protection we had said? 4 pieces of protection. Maybe some of those creatures can help fill out the rest of it, and I get 8 pieces of protection, which would be awesome to see. If we're thinking the cube method, which I recommend Rebel Lily's video on this, but the cube method is you have like 8 pieces of draw, 8 pieces of ramp, 8 pieces of protection, 8 pieces of removal, and then you have 8 pieces of cards that fit your theme, another 8 pieces that fit another theme, 8 pieces that support your card, your decks like Anthem or like for this example, 8 pieces of like Cyrodiil, where is it? Like these creatures could be support creatures or whatever. And the last 8, I forget what it is. I think it's kind of a flex piece. It could be whatever you want. That's a lot. That's just the quick version of it. That's kind of a lot to go through. I like to use that method and then just adapt it from there. That's what I've been doing with a lot of my decks as of late. So anyway, we threw in a bunch of creatures in here. We got all our big boys in here. So now we're at 82 cards in the deck. In my sideboard, there's some other stuff I was thinking of. So again, we had saw these 2 creatures that are, they're expensive. They'd be nice to have. They're pretty strong. Again, we want to see the sideboard counts the cost of the cards. So currently, we're at $89 unowned. I don't want to spend more than $150 if I can. Under 100 would be awesome. But if I cut these $20 from here, that's going to bring this down quite a bit. But if I'm at like $100 and I can add these 2 cards in, it's 120. It's not too bad, in my opinion. Other people would want a budget and keep it under 100. That's fine. Anyway, the other day I played a game of Bright Palm, or sorry, not Bright Palm, Bumbleflower, and had this crazy combo, which is not group hug at all, but I really liked it. So I kind of want to put it in this deck as well. Simic Ascendancy, Communal Brewing, and Forgotten Ancient. Communal Brewing is actually a card that's recommended to cut from Bumbleflower, especially if you're going for group hug, because you make everyone draw a card, which Bumbleflower wants you to do, but then it puts +4/+4 on every creature that's coming out, right? Because of the way Communal Brewing works. So you become a threat pretty quickly, and players start to decide if they want to go after you or not. Especially if enchantment removal is not, common or is in their hands, then they have to go for player removal or creature removal. And again, that kind of defeats the purpose of group hug, in my opinion, anyway. So Communal Brewing might get pulled from my Bowflower deck. It'll get put in here, which will make it free for me. Civic Ascendancy as well. I own it. I don't know if I want to keep it in Bowflower or here. I might just put it in both decks and get another copy, but it's pretty cheap. So let's go and move these to the main deck for right now. And oh yeah, and then Forgotten Ancient goes in there too. So these 3 cards just combo together very well. I guess it presents an alternate win con where maybe they stop going for. My idea is 1, win. The other idea though is maybe they stop going for Foxglove and perhaps try to get your enchantments out or your Forgotten Ancient gone or something else. Kind of just keeps you alive, right? Keeps Foxglove alive and makes you a threat still, and you might get player removal. If you're running this deck, you might get hit harder, but it's still nice to have. So there is that. There's going to be a Bumbleflower tag here show up because these are cards that are coming from Bumbleflower. I just wanted to tag that for myself, so this is for my reference. We would ignore this tag for the most part, but it's good for the budget. Again, our deck is $116 so far, but I'd only be paying $90 ish. That's the estimate. This is always lower than what it actually you'd pay from like card game or TCG Player, or even local card shops. Moxfield's pricing is always a little bit lower for some reason. Anyway, it's nice though to know that I could put these cards in and kind of just buff their deck up while not worrying too much about price. So there's that. I don't think anyone breaks the $5 rule though. Kelownia Hydra gets close, he's at 5. So what do we need now? We need to look at removal. We need to look at counter spells for sure. Evasion is going to be a big deal. And then draw and recursion, those are both good. But I'm just thinking to myself, do I really need draw power? I don't need too much of it. I do need it, but not too much of it. Because I want to draw the cards I want, obviously. And some of these cards might help me draw. I gotta go through and look at them. Um, but like this right here, draw 3 cards. That's awesome. He's a 6 cost creature though. So, again, there's some, issues there, but yeah. We want to play it and try to get anyway, we're trying to figure out if we want draw or not, because Mr. Foxglove can get us draw power as well. If we swing at someone with 7 cards in hand, and we don't have 7 cards in hand, we're gonna get 7 cards in hand. So we're gonna be drawing a lot anyway. So it'd be good to have just only a little bit of draw power, maybe. What I would do here then is go through and tag the untagged stuff. Definitely needs to get tagged. Communal Brewing needs to be tagged into something. I gotta just figure out what they do for the deck specifically and tag them. And then I want to go through every single creature and also tag them. So this is where it gets a little weird with this commander. Because the way I'm doing this, the point of these cards entering here is because they're big and expensive, and we're trying to cheat them out. That's the point of the deck. ETB effects may not be as important. 1/1 counters are important, but maybe they're not that important. Psychosis Crawler is pretty good, but what do I count him as? Do I count him as hand support? Hand size matters, draw matters, that sort of thing. He's pretty good, but again, do I need it? I don't know. Psychosis Crawler is also one of those ones where I'm not too sure if I want or not, because I'm not playing like a wheels deck or like a heavy draw deck, maybe. So we'll go through. This is where the cutting happens, and we just go back to our considering pile afterwards and look for through all these creatures again that I've stole from a bunch of other decks. And if there's creatures that I know I want that I could think of, I'll add them into. There's also plenty of cheap creatures we need to get in here too. We need some more. Maybe need some more mana dorks. We maybe need some more draw power. I'm not really blinking currently, so maybe we want some blink in there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll look through that. But this video is getting pretty long. I've already done it in 2 parts. So what I'll probably do is pause again. Come back to this when I have more stuff in here. I'm hoping though at this point that my build process is making sense. And we'll review one more time at the end once the deck is done. But yeah, I'll come back when I get some more stuff in here to decide what I want. I'll look through Bumbleflower, see if there's any more stuff I'm cutting. I'll look through my other resources, my considering pile. EDH rec is always good to look at, of course. Which I think I added a bunch of stuff in here from EDH rec, but I don't remember. I don't think I tagged it. So I got some work to do, but there's no reason to show all that. And then at the very end, we'll go through the land stuff. I'll show the land stuff. Yeah, I'll be back. Okay, little update here. I went through and started grabbing cards from EDH rec. I went ahead and tagged a bunch of cards that were already in here, like I said I would. Before I go through the tags, I want to just show what we're looking at so far, because we have 15 cards left to add before the deck is done, and pricing is still looking pretty good. So, 28 creatures so far. That hits our 20 minimum that I want to have. 20 of those creatures, as we saw earlier, are the big creatures. We cut 1 card. I didn't really go over the cards too much earlier, but we cut 1 card and added in this instead. The other card just didn't do much for us. Whereas what I was looking at here, card draw is pretty important. So you'll see in a second here, I mark these as some of my best cards in the deck. We desperately need instants. We only have 1 right now. So I want to try to put as many instants to fit the next few parts of what we're looking at as soon as possible. Some enchantment might be nice. Don't need too many more. We got 4 in here. But only one of them is really doing anything for the actual deck itself. These two are nice little combo pieces together. And they help the deck individually, they just make things big. This is good for my hand size, but maybe we get some more in there. We'll see what we get. Artifact wise, I think we're looking okay. We can get a little more, especially if we're looking at protection. Because right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana rocks, which is really good. Kind of a combo piece, I guess. And then a little bit of protection and hand support. So things are looking good. Haven't touched lands too much again, but like I said, we'll do it at the very, very end here. If we end up finding some more non-basic lands that just fit what we're looking at, we'll add them in. And then our sideboard, let's see here. Helga is not going to work out too well. I was against some ruling. I talked to my friend Adrian about this. This is casting, and ideally we don't want to cast anything. We want to just put it in our hand from Mr. Foxglove. So this probably won't be too great of a card anymore. Um, it's in the other decks. It's in quite a few decks, but I don't know. I don't see it working as well as I'm hoping. But I am looking at also mana cost here, so we have sort of a mana value. Creature-wise, we are really expensive. I think I do want some cheaper creatures still. Got a decent curve going, I guess, but no turn 1 creatures, that's fine. I'd kind of want maybe a mana dork or two. I don't know. We gotta figure something else out. We can scroll all the way down. Let's go and collapse this real quick. We scroll all the way down and look at our mana values too, and we can see that we have 1 card, Wizard class only card, and of course Soaring. So 2 cards that can hit on turn 1. Otherwise, we're looking at turn 2, and then very high curves towards the end here. Our commander is a 5 mana card, so we need to make sure our curve is around this 5 range, I believe. That'd be best. There's a bunch of spells in here, and permanents that are mana value 3, and we have quite a few 2s also, which is actually nice to see. A lot of permanents at the 2 range. A couple creatures, plenty of sorceries, 4 mana, almost all our artifacts are in here, except for, I think, Decanter is a 3 cost, and Soul Ring is a 1 cost, so we're getting somewhere. And then Civic Ascendancy, so we're doing okay, mana-wise, and again, we'll split all this up later in terms of the actual percentages. But yeah, let's go and scroll back up to the top here, and what I want to do is also show off the tags, so this is where it starts to get messy. My method starts to get messy. I just start tagging everything. Commander stays the same, whatever. So I have 2 cards here. I think these are the best just from what I've seen. We need to have some consistent card draw, like all the time. And these 2 can do that for me. On top of being able to be cheated out. So Arcanis is probably better than Azor in this case. You just tap it, draw 3 cards, pay 2 blue and 2 of whatever, and we can return this to our hand, so we can save it. Combat tricks, whatever we need to do. That's nice. And then later on a separate turn, cheat them back out if we need to. And then when it's time to tap them again for cards, we can. Azor is similar. Azor's nice protection as well. We'll see here in a second. My protection is kind of stacksy. So we have to look at protection a little more. But this is nice to kind of just slow everyone down for our turn cycle. And then whenever it attacks, I can pay mana and gain life and draw cards. So that's kind of nice to have that life gain and the drawing. A little expensive, but again, if we are ramping properly and not paying, or not playing, we're not paying to play big creatures, then we should be okay. I also went to EDH Rex, which we have open over here, and I was looking at some of the stuff that we were kind of trying to play with. So one of the things I like to do, and I didn't really show this, I guess, is I'll just go in, I'll grab a commander, and I will scroll down and I'll look at the high synergy cards. I like the new cards if it's like my Atraxa deck. I look at this every so often to see if there's any new cards coming out that'll fit Atraxa if I want to try to keep her up to date. So that's kind of the deck that I haven't played as much lately, but it is kind of my baby. But kind of scrolling down, we have high synergy cards. So I would usually come into here and grab some high synergy cards and the top cards and copy and paste them. Maybe game changers. I'm trying to look at those, but not look at game changers right now. I'll copy my top cards down. It's pretty easy. You just click text and then just highlight. It's a little finicky, but you can just highlight and then copy and paste into your. You don't really need bubble flower anymore, I don't think. Just bulk edit and copy and paste in your sideboard you're considering or wherever you want, and then tag them. So I went ahead and did something a little bit different this time. Usually just grab the top cards, but Foxglove, I've noticed with Foxglove on an EDH rec, because of Miss Bumbleflower being a precon existing, I think there's quite a few recommendations in here that may not be the best for the deck. So we just gotta be more cognizant of what we're doing here and not just copying and pasting. But I went to my tags here, and there's two things we're kind of doing. We're kind of birthing pod-ish, not really, but we're kind of in there. And then we're also, big mana is a big deal. So we are kind of big mana. So I clicked those and I just copied what I had. Big mana, I grabbed both of the just general high synergy and top cards. I also looked at the budget versions and copied those to put those into the considering. And then birthing pod was they're kind of pricey. Some of the good stuff in here is like above that $5 range. We got Consecrated Sphinx at 40. Yeah, they're in there in the considering, but I'm not gonna. I already know that this just take up space. But I looked at the budget and grabbed some of the budget ones. And then I went into my sideboard here and I copied. I wrote down one hashtag and then just copy and paste it all the way down. That's how I got these to show up. So now if I go over here, big mana Rex. So anything that says Rex is from EDH Rec. That's kind of one of my things. If you look at any of my decks, you'll notice probably EDH Rex or some sort of Rec is written down in a tag if I have the tag set up. So these were in the big mana section. So I know that maybe I'm not playing for big mana, or I am, but these are all very good cards. It's worth considering not cutting them. My big boy section, it's at 18. We wanted about 20. I think I cut 2 out though. So we're at 18, which is fine. Birthing pod as well. So really, aside from this card, there's really no birthing pod in here, but there's the ramp and the protection. And they're just staples, I guess. And then Bumbleflower, again, these are coming from the Bumbleflower deck. Not a huge deal. Just let me know that I have them. That's kind of what I want to do. Kind of wish I got more for the Bumbleflower set, but that's alright. We have a counter section here. Again, nothing too crazy. This one will give +2/+2 to everything. It's not counters, it's more just like an aura, but it buffs them. I didn't really know how else to write it. This gives counters. Pretty nice card. I have this in a different deck, but I'll just buy a second copy here. Same for this card. This is actually in Ballflower, so I'm moving it over. But these they just get counters. They protect themselves in a way. This gains life. This one I would hope maybe slow down some of the spells that people are slinging when it's not my turn. And this one would be I want to ramp up my counters, just get real big. And try to spread them as much as I can. There's not a whole lot of giving counters, but at the very least, this guy's gonna get big. And then if this guy comes out, maybe I put it on. Maybe I back up, Foxglove, and I come with commander damage. Who knows? Okay, draw power. I think this is brand new. We didn't have any draw cards before. We mentioned though that we wanted some. We wanted. I didn't say how many we wanted, but we did want some draw. Obviously, we want a full hand for Foxglove's ability to trigger properly. So lucky for us though, a lot of the big mana creatures we chose are also giving us draw power. This is not draw power, but it's kind of nice to still have. Everything else is here. This gives me some sort of draw. It's kind of like a monologue tax, but as a creature. This will draw when it enters. This will draw when when I do damage, I look at the top 3, put a card into my hand. It's not actually drawing, so it won't trigger like this, but it gets cards in my hand. Of course, these are draw. Psychosis Crawler just kind of ping everybody as I draw, and then it's the hand size should hopefully get big enough to where he's at least a 7/7 at all times. That'd be nice. Or I suppose a 6/6 because we're going to be cheating stuff out also. At all times, the minimum 6. Our evasion, we want to build this up still. Extra com, extra turns. It's just kind of just a note for me. Don't have to worry about too much. Hand support, nothing new there. And then protection grew. And so this next thing I want to look at is my protection. My instants, like I said, are pretty light. And protection-wise, I am not protected against board wipes at all. And obviously with a deck where the creatures matter, winning by common damage matters, that sort of thing. We want to make sure we keep our big creatures out. So the protection we do have here, though, again, kind of stacks-ish, just delays the game a bit. This, protects me from being attacked. If they want to pay an extra one to swing at me, they can. That's cool. There's other cards I can add like this too. This gives ward to creatures, so, single target spells. But again, board wipe does not really help there. I could, if I had Hullbreaker out, I could just throw out, another instant, which is what we need still, and then get rid of a board wipe before it comes down. So this will kind of give me constant counter spells, I suppose, until I'm able to actually counter it. It's something. But yeah, we want to get more instants in here that are going to protect me. That's what I'm thinking. So like counter spells going to be a good one. Negate, off the counter fuse, those sort of things. Ramp didn't really change too much. Yeah, didn't really change at all. We have quite a bit of it though. We're looking good. More is always good. Oh, we added Peregrine Drake. I think's how you say it. This adds to the ramp pile. It taps 5 lands when it enters, so it's not gonna ramp that much. It's ramp-ish. But if we could blink it, if we get ways to remove this and put it back in, that'd be nice. That's what this dragon is good for, or Drake is good for, is blinking. So maybe we'll get some blink in here too. We'll think about it. And these are kind of my, I guess, birthing pod-ish, right? My support creatures. The birthing pod stuff up here that we had just looked at. I won't scroll way up. Again, very kind of similar. Removal. This is kind of nice to see that we're starting building this already. Just from the big boys. Tokens is another thing that kind of comes up. Not a huge deal. I'm not really focused on the tokens at all, but at least we could create some tokens. So if we slam these down, then we can. This actually, now I'm thinking about it, this would not gift the octopus, which is interesting because we're not casting it. But if we get another token on the field, we can copy that. So we'll see. That'd actually be really nice. We don't want group hug too much. There's a little bit of group hug-ish in here. Like, for example, the Sphinx allows someone to draw 1 card and I draw 3. That's fine, whatever. But we're trying to avoid the group hug. That's what Bubble Power's for. This is not group hug. This is cheat. So this actually might be nice if we'll slam down without gifting the card. And then we can create a token of a copy of target creature token that enters battlefield's turn. So if we can combo into this, that'd be nice. Something to think about. If not, if we don't feel like we're not getting a lot of tokens for everything else in here, then maybe, well, this is each end step. This is actually pretty good. I'm rambling. We're keeping this in here. This is nice. So a little bit of token creation going on, even though it's not a huge deal. This will also kind of stop token creation from other people, which would be nice. Triggers didn't change. Oh, we didn't tag these guys. Let's go and tag these guys in here right now. I would say this is maybe protection, and it's definitely counters. Protection, because again, it's that same as stacks piece, right? It's just creating. It's kind of preventing people from wanting to cast, hopefully. Especially with Simic Ascendancy on the field. That would be awesome. So I guess we could call this again protection, I suppose, and counters again, because we could pay to give counters out. So the counters are kind of, it's kind of coming on its own naturally, which is nice. Now we have 6 cards in our counter section, so it's going somewhere. Again, this is not counter. This does not give 1/1 counters. It's more of an aura, just a boost. Everything else does get counters, which is kind of nice. So, if we have Forgotten Ancient, Sunscorched Regent, Communal Brewing, which is also counters, actually going to add that on. Now, a really strong board state would be having, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the field. That's really going to want, these two together. People aren't going to want to cast spells anymore. Because putting 2 counters on Simic Ascendancy every time. Yeah, if they can't remove it, this is going to be scary. Cool. So let's go and look at our instance then. I don't really record the instance part, but I just want to check in and show that's, how it's going. So we'll be right back. Okay. So I went ahead and added a bunch of cards again, and we hit the 100 card mark. So we are done building. Now's the time to start shaving and deciding what we actually want to keep or not. Price wise, we're looking pretty good at the $126 range for me. 167 total, so pretty pricey deck. But again, as the collection grows, you tend to get more cards. More expensive cards as you go. Proxying is fine too. I own a Heroic Intervention, for example, so I'm going to proxy this card. That's why it's going in the deck. It's a pretty good card. Just to verify though, price-wise, let's see how many cards went over the $5 range, because I stopped kind of looking at it. So this guy does, but again, we own it. We can move it here. If proxies aren't okay, we'll just take it out of the one deck it's in and move it over here. Proxies are okay, we just proxy it, and that is fine with me. That's the only card in this section. Down here, Hydra's the only one that barely hits the range. Again, I own it, and I'm actually going to move it over. It's going to be the real card. Swiftfoot Boots, if we even count it, this is I purposely chose this printing because I don't own this printing, so I want to make sure it shows the proper pricing range. So it actually might go down a little bit, which is nice. Again, we already looked at the Hydra, so we know these are okay. These are great. My draw cards are all very cheap, so those will be easy to order. Finest Hour is very cheap. This is close to $5. Here's a new card I added. We'll go over that in a second here, but not quite there yet. This is a very nice card for being under $5. I was quite surprised. Looking good over here in hand support. Looking good in extra turns. Protection again is looking pretty great. Heroic Intervention being the only one. And Heroic Intervention again proxying. So everything's looking good there. Ramp is looking awesome. We have a lot of cards close to this close to the $5 range though, so that's bumping up the price quite a bit. Hull Breaker and Truststone, we only have 2 removal spells, so maybe we need to refix our removal. We'll come back to this though. And our support creature's looking fine. Yeah, I think everything's looking good. Nothing hit over. We have some tutors now. We added some tutor cards. 3 of them, so that puts us at bracket. I guess it says we're still 2. I think we're in a bracket 3 deck though. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays. Shrag Residence is another card that goes over, but I own it. Might just proxy it or order again anyway. I don't know, but it's barely over. Keeping with the rule though, I own it, so I would keep it in this deck. Lands might throw this whole thing out the window. Our budget might change quite a bit because once we start adding in lands that I don't have, hopefully they're cheap. You know, Command Tower is pretty cheap. Tap dual lands are pretty cheap-ish, hopefully. I don't know how many cards I have in the banned color scheme already, but we'll look around, see what we have, see what we can kitchen table before we, what can we kitchen table before we add in stuff from like our card, buff the card up a bit. That brings me to what I want to look at before I even start looking at removal, which obviously I really desperately need. So let's look at the tags actually and see where we are. The best cards, again, this is not a category for the actual deck itself, but it's pretty good. There's another card I want to add in here that's going to break our rule, but it does land in the best card category, I believe. Big mana recommendations. So between the Rex from EDH, EDH Rex, this one got added in. Everything else looking pretty good though. Again, that's not really a category. Big Boys hasn't changed at all. It's looking pretty good though. I might want to cut some stuff out. I think Peregrine Drake is pretty cool, but I don't have any blink in here, so maybe this goes. We could trade this out for removal. I'm actually going to start because now we starting to look at stuff, I'm going to start a consider cutting tag. Let's start one of those, because that's what I like to do to help me cut things down. If this ends up being a dead card and it doesn't help too much, then this would be good to cut. Similarly, I think Psychosis Crawler. We shall see if we want this or not. I'm not too sure. Everything else is looking okay to me, though. Just from looking at it, everything looks fine. I don't want to cut too much stuff that I already own also, so, you know, Psychosis Crawler might end up... If it comes down to between Psychosis Crawler and the Drake, Psychosis Crawler is probably going to stay because I already own it. Saves you money. Just at first glance, everything else looks fine to me, currently. Birthing Pod recommendations, not going to like that too much. Bellflower, not going to like that too much. So here's our considered cutting category now. This is going to add counters. Is there anything there we really want to get rid of? I don't know yet. This is pretty great because it just gives an aura enchantment to everything, as long as I have my commander out. It's not giving counters to this actual category, but that's okay. Draw power is looking okay. We don't have too much. If we add this guy in here, he's a mana rock as well, so he'll help me ramp. But again, if we remove this, and this is drawing me cards anyway, so it actually won't affect this category too much. Oh, excuse me. Extra combat, we're gonna leave that there. This is I think this is one of the best cards as well. We won't tag it best, but I think this and this one are both very important for the deck, especially if we get them out. Our tutors don't find these cards, by the way. We'll look at the tutors in a bit. I don't think I can grab either of these cards. I can maybe grab this one with a tutor, but not an enchantment. I added some evasion though. My evasion's looking okay. Not great, but I think it's fine. Especially again, if we could ramp through a lot of those basic lands to thin our deck out, and if we can tutor out the cards that we do need, then hopefully these evasion cards will just kind of show up a little bit easier. For drawing stuff too, again, if we could try to get these maximum hand sizes out, and then start drawing tons of cards and just ramping harder and harder, then, you know, it could be good. We could probably find these. So 5 H is not too bad, and we don't really need too much either. Reconnaissance is awesome. I just remove the target attacking creature from combat. Um, so I could just trigger the attack on Mr. Foxglove, and then pay 0 and remove it, and I get to sheet my card out. Whisper Cloak is pretty cool too. Gives Shroud and can't be blocked, so kind of some protection there. When we get to protection, you'll see I found some ways to get around board wipes, not too much though, to be honest. Shroud won't help with that either. This is pretty cool for just non-basic lands. Every commander deck has them, so it'd be hard for this not to work. The hardest part is going to be getting on the creature. Gotta be careful. I don't think I could equip if they have Shroud on, so I have to be careful that I put this on before putting on the cloak, for example. Then Aqua's form is pretty nice too, just can't be blocked, and I get a Scry. So pretty nice ways to get around. Most of these would probably focus around Foxglove first, because we want to make sure he's able to swing, right? And that's just kind of my thought process for why I chose these evasion cards. Hand support hasn't changed since day one. And then our protection, we have 20 pieces of protection now, so we skyrocketed in protection. Most of it, again, is going to be just the counter spell. It's still very stacksy, but I'm counting this as protection because it's protecting my creature from single target spells. But we threw one, let's see if I could count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counter spells. In addition to Heroic Intervention, would make 6 ways to dodge a board wipe. If this is Exile, actually Hexproof, well still, if this is Exile or Sacrifice, then this won't work obviously, but most board wipes are Destroy, so this will help. On top of that, all the new instants will help kind of trigger Hullbreaker, so most of instants are going to be these ones right here, these sort of counter spells, but it'd be nice to be able to remove other things from the board or throw one out. Maybe I could do Heroic Intervention and then throw something also back to the hand. Just have them waste the mana a bit. I don't know, we'll see. Ramp grew a little bit. I didn't really throw too much ramp in here except for this guy. But I did want the one more piece, so there it is. Oh, then this is rampish, which might go though. Forgot to kind of look again to see if there's anything that we're kind of considered cutting, but I don't think there is. Most of these cards are new to the pile, so I haven't really looked at them closely. Whereas, again, Drake I looked at quite a bit before coming back here. One other thing with ramp that I was looking at, with some of the, I guess this is the guides I was looking at to help me reference Foxglove here. Being able to draw a card is really good. So things like Cultivate is really good ramp, because you get one on the field, of course, but you also get one in your hand. So if I already have Foxglove out and I play Cultivate, it's going to give me a card back in my hand, so I'm not going to lose hand size. Really good. Nothing changed in the support creatures. Removal, again, like I just said, we want to kind of work on this maybe. Maybe throw some more instants in there to help with removal. That'll also kind of help trigger Hullbreaker more if he's out. I'm liking what I got going on with tokens. I'm liking my triggers. I like my tutors now. I kind of threw these in. So now we're kind of we're at a crossroads here. The question I need to start asking myself now is, well, one, I definitely need to get some removal. I don't like not having this only 2 pieces of removal. It's not great, especially not blinking. Terastrodon, that really means I have one single piece of removal. It's like just, it happens once. The other one is gonna be whenever I cast an instant, which I don't have too many of them anyway. So we gotta get some more instants in here to help me remove some stuff from the board. I don't know I'm gonna cut for that yet. The other thing I was looking at too is, again, for me, price-wise, this is looking okay. I kind of want to add in these 2 cards here. These 2 cards look very good. This is gonna be great for the token stuff that I'm kind of building around, like my little sub theme I got going on. And this is just a great card overall. I put in a lot of tags for this card. So there's a lot going on here, which would be nice to have. A lot of draw power too, which is what we need. This is also in here, but I'm probably not going to use this. It's pretty expensive of a card. It's really nice, but it's Shroud. It gives me ward. I got cards that do this already. Since we're trying to play on a budget, we don't really need this. So I'm going to back considering and drop my price down. I've got enough of this type of protection, I think. I don't think I really need Pippin anymore. He's nice though, but I don't think I really need him. I did add some cheaper creatures though. I kind of passed over them, but protection got this guy. You sacrifice him and everything is indestructible. This will help dodge a board wipe. Um, this is a tutor. I didn't really understand how it worked. I don't really understand what it means with different powers. Is that just, I don't know if that's just text ability or what that means exactly. And I'm not really going to look into it right now. So we're just going to take it out. Put back in considering. We already got 3 tutors anyway. If we put more, the bracket might change. This is another like type of shroud ability. I think we've got enough of these. It's kind of nice, but I don't think we really need it too much. So I'll move to considering. And then this is another, it's a saga that could give me a tutor. That also means for this is the tutor. But the +2/+2 and the token is kind of nice too. We're gonna move it out though. So I want to get these 2 cards in here. I think I need to get more removal. I might cut lands down. I said at the very beginning 40 lands. I don't want to go too long. I don't want to go below 37 for sure. Like 37 would be the lowest I'd go. Some people run 35, which is, it's okay, but Bubble Flower's running 38. A newer precon's running 39 even. Not that this is supposed to be precon level, but the lands do matter. The amount of lands we have does matter. So I might cut down to 37, but what I really want to do is see if I can fit these 2 in and some removal without too much issue. I don't think I tagged removal yet. Yeah, I haven't really tagged removal yet, so we got to figure out what we want to remove. Things like Pongify and Generous Gift will be nice to have. Those are pretty easy removal. This is easy removal. It's cheap, and again, we want to have cheap stuff that can trigger Hole Breaker. Game changer wise, there's a bunch of game changers in my considering section. I'm really not going to use any of them. Spelling Tithe is the only one I really own that I'm maybe thinking of, but I don't think it's necessary for this deck. It'd be nice because again we are trying to play big creatures, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I really want it there or not. And here's a bunch of lands too. So Planeswalker. I don't have any Planeswalkers in either. I don't have any stuff that's gonna like hate your guys' hand. Nothing like that yet. But the big one is gonna be just removal. I gotta get more removal in this deck. So the real question is how much do I want? I didn't really write down a goal. 8 pieces sounds good to me, but that is kind of a bit, especially now that we have so much other stuff. In terms of cutting, because I guess this is also important to look at. In terms of cutting, I would look at these areas that have like big amounts of creatures in them, or just cards. So my big categories. Obviously, protection has quite a bit. I don't know if I'll touch that too much, but maybe this will naturally fall down when I get rid of the big boys. I don't want to touch ramp, except maybe the Peregrine Drake. So looking at consider cutting, I have 2 cards already that I could get rid of to change out for where is it? Here, I could change these 2 out for removal. That's nice. And then maybe like 1 or 2 more of the big boys can go. If I have any in here that are just like they're not doing anything else other than just that they're big, that would be nice to get rid of. But again, I don't want to go down too many because then we're going to be hitting. We have quite a bit of creatures actually. I think we're okay. I want at least 20 creatures in the deck. We're at 31, which is quite a bit. Obviously, creatures matter with a deck like this. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and cut some stuff down again. We're going to look at this over one more time. We'll come back and show what removal pieces we put in, if any at all. We're definitely going to put some in. And we'll also review if we cut any lands down. Then we'll do lands, and then maybe we'll look at playtesting. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, we just finished the deck. Not counting lands. But I've got 100 cards in here. I added a ton more removal, including one kind of a strong card in my opinion of just constant removal, being this guy. So let's review it real quick. I'm throwing in the whale. I did it. We'll see. Maybe I won't order it and I'll put something else back in here. But for now, at least for this deck, for tabletop purposes, and just playing around with the commander, I like him. I'm putting him in. I put the other snake in here as well. The $7 snake is also in here, unfortunately. But my big mana recommendations has grown. I went through and tagged a bunch of stuff in my considering section for removal, and then added it in here, and ended up adding up to this section. So this section got a little bit bigger, which I think overall made the deck stronger. If these truly are recommended in a big mana format for Mr. Foxglove, which is what we're leading into, then it should be pretty good. I cut down quite a bit of my big boys. We're down to 23, which is more than what we wanted still. We wanted about 20 at least. We're at 23, so we're still pretty good. And again, I added a bunch of new ones in here from just my considering section. A lot of it is removal based. Birthing Pod did not change. Again, most of it is rec. We're not really ramp. We're not really playing Birthing Pod at all. In terms of what the idea of Birthing Pod is, which is fine. We can even, if we want to, we can even go into my change tags here and then just remove the Birthing Pod tag if we wanted to. And then everything else is still here. But we'll get into that later. It doesn't matter. Bone Flower is the same way. Like, I don't really need this tag anymore, but it's here. We did cut out the, I think Psychosis Crawler is what it's called. We cut that out. I think we cut out one other card from Bubble Flower. So, unfortunately, only 5 cards, unless we do lands, of course, only 5 cards from Bubble Flower are coming over here. They're non-lands. Kind of wanted more, just try to save a little money, but that's alright. Counters wise, did not really change. We actually lost. I think we lost something here, but that's okay. I'm liking how the counters are looking, and then we have another kind of we have a persist card that we had added in. This guy right here. So whenever it enters, destroys target non-creature permanent. I don't like land hate, but it could be land hate. But it has persist, so when it dies, it comes back with a -1/-1 counter. And if I could just give it a 1/1 counter from any of these guys, well, I guess not this guy, but from him, Forgotten Ancient would be a good one. Civic Ascension would be a good one. Even Communal Brewing, because it's just when things enter. Actually, this one I cast. I just realized this may not be as strong as I was hoping. We'll see. Hmm. Well, either way, I can still try to put counters on it and keep them around. Draw power did go up a little bit because of Nezahal being added in here. Nothing too crazy. Evasion actually went down. I did remove the boots that I really liked. I just cut them because I feel like I got enough ways of getting around blocking. This, of course, stays the same. Hand support has stayed the same. Nezahal bumps it up by 1. A lot of protection. We're at 21 pieces of protection now. A good amount of instants now as well. Ramp is looking great. I did cut 2 pieces of ramp out just because I think we're looking okay without it. Hopefully this doesn't bite me in the butt. If so, I'll just go back and put them in. Removal is at 8 pieces now. It was a little bit higher, but I just cut some stuff out because what I did is I added a ton of removal creatures that put me over and I had to cut back down. So 8 pieces of removal, I'm happy with that. 2 of them are instants. I removed some of the other instants that destroy things and just kept exile. Because this stuff will do a lot of destruction for me in terms of fighting, or players have to sacrifice themselves, sacrifice things of their own. This is a very mean card. I feel like this is also going to be quite a mean card. And then this guy as well will be pretty strong. So I have ways of removing stuff now. I think I'm okay. Support creatures didn't change. Tokens didn't change. Just kidding. We did add the $7 serpent, so it did change a little bit. Triggers didn't change. Tutors, they are still there. That brings us to our untapped lands. I did cut 3 lands down. So I said I wanted 40, we cut down 37. I'm okay with that. If we need to add more later on, we could. Especially since we did cut ramp out as well. So overall, our mana base did drop, but I think we're still okay. Especially if we're trying to play in a 2 to 3 range, we might be alright. A lot of my decks are in this 37 land range anyway. And if 40 is the recommendation. 40 to 43 is the doctor's recommendation. Who wants that? So the next thing we want to do now is start looking at our mana bases. Very clearly, just off the bat, I need more green. So having an even distribution here is not going to work out. We can cut down on white. We kind of bump up on blue as well. So we're actually kind of a little worried about our mana distribution, honestly. Because 51% of our cards have green in them. And looking at the numbers here, we want a lot of white to get the early stuff out. Blue is kind of just all over the place. Green's kind of all over the place too. Or green's kind of on the later end. Again, though, the problem with this deck is, I should say the challenge with this deck is the fact that we're cheating a lot of stuff out to the point where hopefully we don't even need to worry about casting too much. We'll still fix our mana curve to kind of reflect what our deck looks like, but we have a lot of green here that we probably won't reach the green requirement. of, if we're looking at 51% production here, we want 51%, or if we have 51% green cards in the deck, we want 51% production. That just might not happen. But we'll see where we get. I think the best way of doing this is going to be just um, add cards and then cut lands as we go. So we cut down on white, and then we want to get just a lot of dual lands or lands that give us any color. So things like command tower are obviously a staple. Let's go get our command tower in here. Let's get our fetch lands. I want two. This terramorphic is also good. Oop, how do you spell this? There it is. Terramorphic expansive, pretty good. We'll have to tag these after, but we want to add these in here. And then from here now, we're going to look at our like all our Bant colored cards. But command tower is pretty good. We'll go and drop down to 11 planes. Let's do, because we know we can go low on planes already. Let's do 10 and 10. Sure. We'll come back to this. Good thing I stole a bunch of other decks, so I could look at a bunch of different land ideas. The other deck looked like they were running 8, 4, and 3, but again, they had a different spread than I did overall. So let's go and remove these now because we have them already in the deck. Look at pricing at the very end here. But as you can see, my pricing is looking pretty decent even with those expensive cards. Okay, so personally, I know Commander's fine, but I'm not a huge with life. I'm not a huge deal of taking damage for life, so I'd rather do the check lands over the pain lands. I have Hollowed Fountain. I could put it in if I really wanted to, but we're gonna wait on doing stuff like that, like the shock lands. I'm okay with shock lands, but lands that give me damage every time, I don't know if I want that for a deck like this. I don't know how much cycling I want either. Again, this is just this guy's. Or a couple other decks I looked at. Exotic Orchard's really good. We have 3 colors. There's a good chance that we'll get somebody's. If not, we get a colorless out of Eddie. So we'll move you to the main deck. It's a nice filter land. We'll look at that in a little bit. Canopy Vista. Need 2 or more basics. That's not bad. Move that to the main deck. So reveal from your hand. Those are okay. I don't mind it. Again, this is kind of just based on what we have available to us right now. So yeah, we're going to move you to the main deck. 49 cents is fine. I like the check lands, so I do like the checks a lot. So we'll put the Glacial Forest in here because most of the time we're going to have it anyway. Yep, another check land. That's awesome. And then is this also a check land? No, where's our last check land at for our combinations? Is it not in here? Here it is. This should be the last one. So those are check lands. That's nice. So that's 6. We got to cut down 6 lands again now. So let's go back up here and cut. And this is just what I do. I guess I don't need to say the whole process, but this is what I do. I just cut, add lands and then cut the colors. So we did command tower and 2 like fetch lands here, and just try to cut planes down first. I would say because white is our weakest area, we can cut that for like the generic stuff. So like Exotic Orchard is kind of generic; it kind of counts for anything. So we'll cut 1 planes down to 9. And then we want to be careful now. We don't go too low though. But Canopy Vista here will give us, this gives green white, this gives us green white, and we have 3 green whites here. So let's go and cut down. It's like 11 and then like 7. So that counts for all the green white stuff, and then white, blue, and green blue are the only other things we have left. So we could do, I'll just do 1 of each, I guess. So 10 and 9. So we're at 100 cards again. Nice. That's not bad. How are we looking color-wise? Now we got some in there. Now we can start looking at maybe production, and seeing if we need to adjust anything. And then after that production happens, maybe we could go back and look at more lands. Don't want too many tap lands, but I don't know how many we have right now. This is another thing we should look at, is start tagging our lands. I mentioned that at the very beginning. I tagged all my untapped lands. We should start tagging tap lands now. This is obviously an untapped land. It's pretty easy. Let's start with that because it's that we already have the tag set up. I'm gonna say this is untapped. This is untapped. This is untapped. These are check lands. My thing is I'm worried that they'll come in tapped anyway. Calculator. If I use like a calculator, like the snail, the snail guy, his thing will tell me that my stuff comes in tapped. He'll probably count these as tapped. More often than not, these would probably come in tapped more than these ones would. Well, it depends on the ramp also, how we're doing with ramp, if Canopy Vista comes in tapped or not. For the sake of things, it's just going to put it in as a tapped land. Tapped lands. And hope that these stay together. Looks like they are not, though. That's not what to worry about. Earlier when I did it lowercase, it went next to the. Will it go next to if I did lowercase? It does. I don't like that, but whatever. This one almost certainly is going to be tapped as well. And then these guys, again, I don't really know if they're going to be tapped or not. I would say the ones that require white-blue, I'm going to say this is a tapped land. And then green-blue probably won't be tapped because, again, we want to have a lot of green out. So I'm going to assume those don't come in tapped. So far only 3 of our lands are coming in tapped with this sort of logic. Could be flawed. That's kind of nice. Looking at the color distribution now, we could drop our whites a little more. We don't want to drop too much more, but maybe like 1 more off of white, maybe 2 more gone from white, and then we add 1 of each here. There's no quick subtraction, there's only quick adds, so we'll just come up here. Let's drop 2 planes, and then bump you up 1, and you by 1 as well. Now our planes is very light. I don't want to go too much lower than that. Yeah, so we're looking good there. This is right on spot, and then this is still kind of low. So I want to get some more stuff that produces green in here. A tri-land would be awesome. This comes in tapped. I don't really mind that. It's a tri-land. Tri-lands are great. Filters could be good too. I end up showing this whole process. I didn't necessarily mean to, but oh well. Filters are pretty good, but we only have filters for green to blue, which I guess is fine. I don't need a whole lot of white from what it seems like. I might look at other like decks mana bases too and see what they did, and copy them. But it's going to cut down 1 more card here. We will cut out. Let's cut out an island because we got this guy in here, and he is a tap land, but it's a tri land, so it's fine. I don't know if there's any other tri lands that are available. That's nothing too. Is I would just look into lands. So we can actually cut down another white if we want to. I don't really want to touch the plains too many more times though, unless I'm gonna add in like a green white. So that creates more green white. Then I would cut down a plains, which we only have Sungrass Prairie for that, which is a filter, which is not bad at all. Let's get all the filters in here actually. It's probably my weakest area. Is going to be like trying to figure out what filters we want or don't want. We missed a filter, didn't we? Because there should be. We don't have a green-blue filter. We have this one, but this is different from these. I want to find 1 more of these. I like these a little more. These are untapped though, which is nice. Untapped and untapped and untapped. And then we can drop. Jeez, I should just pay attention when I was adding. Okay, so Sungrass Prairie we added in. So we can drop a forest. And then let's just drop one of each. There we go. Does that give me what I need here, even with that one filter we added in? This actually looks really nice now. I'm kind of liking how this looks. It's functional, if I had to guess. I would say now is a time where we start going into external sources. So the Snail has a really good Foxglove. This is nice. We want the commander to be pretty important. I don't like saying critical piece whenever we do these things, but if you've never seen this tool, it's pretty cool. He did a video on it. So the Bruce Snail did a whole video on this. It yells at you about your lands, basically. So yeah, so we already knew Mimica's color is white. It's saying we're gonna have a delay. If we're saying our commander is critical, we have a delay of almost one whole turn on my spells. Adding an extra white card will reduce 8% of the delay. Problem is, what do I cut out? So I would maybe put in. It's good to put like a shock, right? Maybe cut out a blue and put another white in here. Might be worthwhile. These tools have a hard time. A lot of tools have a hard time, I think, looking at the fact that Foxglove cheats stuff out. 10% of my lands are tapped, so it's counting those other ones that could possibly be tapped or not. That's not too bad though, honestly. Individual cards that I look at as well. I don't really understand how to read this too much. I haven't looked at it too often. What if we said it's a major boost, which it is? I would say we're more of a major boost. This went up a bit. This didn't change. So my mix color is blue now if I have major boost instead of critical. So critical, I guess, is looking at the fact that I really need to have white. Now it's looking at blue though, so my white is probably okay. If it's just another card where the 99 doesn't really matter, this actually goes up quite a bit. But the commander is definitely important. So here we are. I'm happy with that, I guess. It's not too bad. The next thing to look at are going to be the two EDH power level calculators. As you can see, I look at these quite a bit. Let's go and just make sure I have. We don't need this anymore. Make sure I have this copied one more time, and then we'll calculate power and see where we are. Power level. I mean, this is the old system, right? But it's still nice to see. So this says I'm at a 6.3, and I put my commander bracket in at 2. This is new. I haven't seen this before. It's gonna have a hard time calculating again because I have stuff that cheats out. Foxglove cheats stuff out, so the efficiency is low, but if I'm slamming things down constantly, I don't know if it really matters that much. They all set out 6 here, so pretty close together. If I said Foxglove is my commander, this will tell me, where is it? I don't have Miss Bumbleflower in here. Why is she showing up? That's weird. I wonder why Miss Bumbleflower showed up on that list there. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I look over here, though, this tell me my commander's Foxglove. This will, kind of helps me break things down and see what we're looking at here. And this will help me add some stuff in. Some of the stuff in here are things that I was like, I don't really. So Prairie Stream is an interesting one. This would be one that I would want to add. Some of these other ones here, like this is a $20 card. I knew I was going to add this. This is a pretty expensive card as well. $40 card. Like this EDH, like CEDH stuff, right? The really, really strong stuff. I don't necessarily need to follow this all the time. And again, it's also going off of, Bumbleflower data, so it's not going to be the best. Still worth looking at some of these things, but I would say the only thing I really want to look at is maybe going to be the lands, and the top rated land is actually a Prairie Stream, so I'll add one Prairie Stream to my deck here. And then we'll start looking at the last step, which is going to be all of the playtesting. Funny enough, no stock lands showed up on that little list here, but that's alright. Looks like we made a strong deck though. Calculators or whatever, but it works. It seems functional. So I need to have 2 or more basic lands for this one. That's most likely going to happen. So we'll say it's untapped, and then we need to cut one more card out. I don't want to go any lower on white. Let's actually go lower on, because that gives me blue. Let's go lower on a blue here. Maybe I should went lower on green. No, I like my green where it's at. Blue can kind of hold off too. I think we're okay. Last thing now is actually do some. So my play testing, I should say last thing. My play testing style goes a couple different ways. First, I'll just deal some hands and make sure my hands are okay. So let's just shuffle a bit and start looking. So we have a 2-land hand, and if we drew, not great. Yeah, this is not great. It would take a while if we actually got to play anything worthwhile. But cool to see the hands there. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3-land hand. That's really great. On top of Elvish Piper, means that if you get one more card out in the field, there we go. We can play Elvish Piper and start stealing or start cheating. This is a great hand. This is pretty strong, in my opinion, just from what we're trying to do. We dealt another hand. Hey, Elvish Piper's there again. We get to see 4 or 5 village come in tapped, into Island, into Arcane Signet. We would draw on our first turn. On our second turn, we'd be able to get a forest down on turn 3, and then we'd be able to bring out Elvish Piper, and then start cheating stuff out again. And by turn 4, we have our commander. Looks like so. This is looking good. So let's say I just go through and I'm like, okay, I like all my hands. Cool. Let's do the next step now. It's just a playtest by myself. Just the deck by itself. So I'll draw, and I just want to see what does it look like. I should have checked the hand before actually coming in here. But I might just throw some stuff down. Obviously follow the rules when you do this, but just go quick, right? We want to throw in. So this comes in untapped, or this comes in tapped, whatever. Next turn, we get to go again. We'll play another one of these guys. Next turn, we'll play a green. And then we still can't play anything yet. Next turn, we'll play you. We'll get this out. Actually, we'd probably want to get like a decanter. Next turn, get a land down. We'll go ahead and tap, 4. Get you out here. We could resequence that. Whatever. It doesn't matter, right? We're not trying to play optimal. We just want to make sure the deck works. We want to see the deck do its thing is what I'm trying to do here. We'll tap 2. We'll put you out. We could assume that it's only us playing, so we'll put counters on here. Track all that. We could get Foxglove out now. Right? Green, yeah, white, blue, green, and then 2. Foxglove comes out, that puts us on one of here. And then next turn we can start swinging. So with Foxglove, we want to swing first and then play in our main phase 2. So let's do that. So we would go on our turn here, we'd swing with Foxglove. Assuming it hits, what do we want to put out? Well, Kodama's pretty good here. This is also really good. This will help us draw cards out. This will help stop things. This is the weaker Koma, but still pretty good Koma. I'm gonna say Kodama's pretty good here. Main phase 2 comes out now. And we would gain life because he hits, whatever. We're not counting all this up here, but that's what would happen. Main phase 2 is here now, so now we can start putting out more stuff. Let's go put, Sonic Resonator, and then maybe we could play a permanent. You control enter. Oh, look at that. We could play anything with weak or lesser than 2. We don't have that. So what we should have done was actually, instead of playing Sonic Resonator, because this is any permanent, so we should instead play something a little more expensive, such as, do we have enough mana for this? I think we do. 1, 2, yeah, and then 3, we could play you, and then we play Sonic Resonator. And we could even, no, we couldn't, never mind, just kidding. So that's good, and then that would give us, we played you, so we would get the trigger in here, which is fine, we already did it. Next turn. Okay, now we're kind of low on cards, so we want to be careful with that. We'll play a Flooded Grove. for turn or land for turn. Let's move to combat. Let's swing. Let's say we want more cards instead of cheating stuff out. So we'll swing and we'll go ahead and draw. Say someone has a full hand. So we'll draw to 7. Cool. Main phase 2. Now we can start playing the game again. Let's go ahead and do the expensive thing to trigger Kodama. And see what I'm doing is just I'm playing from here, and I see the deck is working. It's doing its thing. Cool. We're at the point where at that turn, I start tracking damage maybe just to see like, hey, am I throwing out 40 points of damage? My deck's that bomb. That I want to throw bombs at people. I track how much damage I'm throwing out per turn when things start happening. In this case, I'm just looking at what I was able to throw out. The deck worked. So that's pretty cool. The last thing, I probably won't show this right now. I'll probably test it out and try to find a successful run. But the last thing I do is I would actually open up a couple other decks of mine that might match the power level of what I'm playing in. So as you can see, I have a ton of decks here. So maybe I'll grab, I think it's like a 2 to 3 range. So we'll grab like my Karn deck. We'll grab, Taste is not a good thing to try against this. Let me think. I would try to find, Castle's pretty weak. If it can't handle Castle, that might not be good. So we'll grab my Castle deck. And then, I don't know. I have so many decks in here. Let's grab. Well, here's another this is just a straight precon. We'll grab this deck. So these are all about, this. I think this is maybe a 3 range. It's bracket 2, but I think this is a 3 deck. This is very much a 2. This is a straight precon, so by definition, it's a 2. It's a precon. So I may play with these decks against each other, and I would just literally scroll down. And at this point now, we would do the mulligan roll. This is like super bad, but so this seems like a playable hand. I would keep this. I'll click playtest, and I scroll down here, and I would look at the deck. And of course, you have to know the deck, so it's best to pick decks like that you actually used before. And then if you want to go explore around and grab someone else's deck, you can. But this is what I would do. I like this hand, so I would take this, and then just go quick. You don't have to play super optimal. Just understanding how the game works, and trying to metagame because you're able to see everything. I'll play test that, sure. And then that's actually a pretty decent hand for Kasla in terms of lands, because there's not a lot of lands there. I've never played this deck before, but I don't think that's good. That seems a little bit better. A little risky. I'll take it. Cool. I also like to do roll a d4 to make sure that I'm kind of being fair, so I just assign 1 through 4. Number 2, this one goes first. Now 1 through 3, we roll on a 4. We roll on a 4. 1. And then we'll just do evens or odds. Even, odd. Even. So this is the order we play in. This is our table order. Just, try to keep it fair and random to make sure that Foxglove isn't going first or last or at a good spot. However you want it to go. And again, it's already kind of determined to be a little bit random based on how you open the decks up. But yeah, I would just play this out. So that's that for now. I'll come back and maybe review the deck. And hopefully one day we can get a real match with Foxglove and see how does it perform against real people who know how to play their decks and know what they want to do, but may not know exactly what I want to do, unless they've seen this video beforehand. Alrighty, so before we get started into playtesting some more, I did play the deck last night against myself with some other decks. I played against a weak precon, a newer precon, which I wasn't too sure how to pilot, this deck, and then Karn, which is my Karn deck is like a big mana, kind of stores up mana, slam down big creatures type of deck. Karn is very much a 3. If we're looking at brackets, by definition, the other 2 are obviously 2s because they're precons. And not great at all. Foxglove, I was wondering where he landed there. And I really thought that Karn was going to take the whole game because it really seemed like that's what was going to happen. But Foxglove ended up winning. So we're going to do another test run here. My second test is usually up against what I consider a weak deck, a strong deck, and then just a good deck. So Bello is pretty good as a precon, I feel like. So this will be another good way to kind of test it out and see how things go. Bello has a chance to just run away with this game. That's just what he does. So we'll see what happens. But I'm thinking at this point now, I might just try to record the whole thing and speed it up. So we'll roll for initiative. We'll roll for turn order. So 4 Bello gets to go first, and then 1, 2, 3. We'll re-roll on a 4. 1, and we'll do evens or odds. Evens will be Emudane. Cool. So our order is gonna be Bello. Foxglove will be last. We'll check to see how some hands go, and then we'll just, just play. This looks good to me. Again, we want to just try to play fast. Optimization is nice, but I want to just try to play fast if we can. For this deck, this is a great hand. Again, that's the weaker deck. This is a very explosive deck. I consider it strong. Nice mono red. Sure. When I play these games, I do try to still keep in mind how the table might react if, these are all piloted differently. So go for the threat, have threat assessment. If Mr. Foxglove is a threat, he's going to get focused. If Foxglove isn't doing too much, he might not get attacked right away. This is a nice 3-land hand. I guess we take it. A 4-land hand. Yeah, we'll take this. Alright, so we'll go and get playing. interesting game. I think I like where Foxglove is, even though he didn't win this round. He was pretty close to getting second, or first, I mean. And I would say he got a close second there. I accidentally closed Kaladin's out. I wanted to show the board state at the end, but Kaladin was actually. I know this is not Kaladin, but this is meant to be um, like a theme deck. This is meant to be one, really. But this deck actually performed really well for the first time I think I've ever tried it out. So it's supposed to be a weak deck, and I think it still is, but it performed quite well. Became a threat early on, and because of that, like I said, the way I was trying to play was trying to just dogpile on um, the VO here because of it, because of him being the threat. Bello's also a threat though, and I try to gauge that threat assessment properly with Foxglove, knowing that I can remove things. I don't think I played Hullbreaker right. I think I missed a lot of triggers. So that's what I need to learn how to handle a little more. But I think if I didn't miss so many triggers, Bella probably would die quicker. Um, Maybe I would have even started looking at Immodane and moving stuff out. At the end there, it got pretty dicey. I had thrown out Heroic Intervention to try to cancel, or to cancel Electric Dominance from happening, sending back to the hand before it was fully cast. Not that this is a counterspell because of Hullbreaker's triggers, which is pretty cool little line that I had going there, but then Mind Collapse still comes out anyway, and there was no response at all available from Foxglove at that point. So Foxglove just ran out of instants. We kind of burned out. Our graveyard has 7 cards in it, almost all instants. Not really. Um, 3 instants in here, 4, so not that many, but half the graveyard. A couple lands, and then yeah, I think this Farseek, and I don't know if I triggered on Arcane or not. Farseek definitely should have triggered Hullbreaker Horror though. I don't think Nature's Lore did though. I think I played that earlier than Hullbreaker. I can't remember. If we look at the footage later, I guess I'd be able to tell. But I definitely missed the Farseek trigger on him. I don't really know if I could change the deck yet. It's still not enough data, but that's how the game's technically, team to. Bleh. That's how the games seem to go um, when I do these sort of things. So Imodane winning kind of makes sense. I kind of expected Imodane to be the strongest at the table here because of that explosive nature that she has. Even with all the countering that came out, she got countered 2 times plus an exile, so she definitely burned as much as she could and ended up winning for it still, which was pretty nice. But this is meant to be a game review. It's just meant to see how Foxglove performed. I think he's performing great. Um, he's definitely in that 2 to 3 range though, and I think he's maybe on the low 3, if anything. Imodane's a 3. Again, Kaladin, I call it a 1, because it's meant to be a theme deck, meant to have fun with it. But again, it performed incredibly well this game. It got the Battle Angel as a tier. Just getting that out so early is what made it so strong. Crazy card. And then Bello is Bello. He did Bello things, so he got to play as well. Kind of nice that all the decks got to play and do their thing. That was pretty neat. So Foxglove, pretty fun so far. Maybe if I get some actual live games with my friends, that'd be awesome to see as well. But for now, I'm kind of happy with how it's looking. I probably won't touch it too much right now. Just play with it a little more, and then perhaps I will. I won't order the deck yet. I can't order decks anytime soon. I won't order the deck yet, but I think this might be the deck. I don't know. We'll see. I'm enjoying it so far. Um, the lands are maybe the only thing that maybe get changed a little bit, but we are running 37 of them, and I think it's a decent amount. I think I am not really pressed for any issue, or I haven't mana flooded too hard. I haven't missed land drops either. I've been doing fine either way. I think it's just a more matter of what cards can I get out, what cards can I cheat out, and how can I use those. I feel like the cards that cheat out kind of have the same issue that I've been worrying. Hullbreaker Horror is definitely a really good card, and this had continuous value. But other than that, though, I mean, I should have left up some blockers, I suppose. I was just full swinging. But like Sinks of Light, once it comes out, it's kind of a one done card because I don't have that blink going on for it. And then Woodfall Primus came out, and if it did die, it would have came out again with Persist. But I didn't have any way to getting it 1/1 counters to continuously persist with it. Um, the first game I tested out with Foxglove, Ulamar's Crusher ended up coming out, and that's what won the game for me. On top of that, I had Arcanis and I had um, Azor, so I had 2 of my 3 best cards on the field. I don't think I had Nezahal, but I had 2 of my 3 best cards on the field, um, which just helped me continuously draw. So that's pretty cool. In terms of just like a deck review, I guess this is a great deck. I like it. I'm not gonna say it's great as in like you're gonna win every game because so far it's 50% win rate. But it is fun. It's got tutors in there, which I'm still, I'm new to tutors. I don't have too many tutors in my decks right now. Um, Extra turns I'm used to. It's only got one though. It's pretty nice. It's a nice deck. Think that's about it for now. If I get more games in, I will try to record them and show them off. But for now, that's it. See ya.